It's the kind of morning you know too well. You wake up to the sound of your alarm. Feels like it just went off a second ago. You drag yourself out of bed, even though the weight of the night still holds you down. Your body moves, but your mind doesn't. It's like there's an invisible chain keeping you tethered to your sheets. You stare at the ceiling, and for a split second, everything goes quiet. Then it hits you. The day is about to begin, and you already feel exhausted, like you're trying to push through a fog, but the fog keeps getting thicker. You know the drill. The world demands so much, and you have no choice but to keep up. Work, social media, family, friends, they all scream for your attention. They want you to be fast, be productive, be happy. But all you want is to catch your breath, to let go of this feeling of never being enough. This feeling isn't new, is it? Every day feels like a race where the finish line keeps moving. You wake up in the morning and already feel behind. You go through the motions, get dressed, brush your teeth, drink your coffee, but it's all mechanical. The day hasn't even started, and you already feel drained. The world around you doesn't seem to get it. People go about their day talking about their accomplishments, their goals, their success. And there you are, stuck in this loop, wondering why you can't keep up. Maybe you tell yourself it's just temporary. Maybe tomorrow will be better. Maybe one day you'll find the energy to push through it all. But deep down, you know it's not just about being tired. It's something deeper, something bigger. You're not just worn out, you're sick. Not in the traditional sense, no. But the exhaustion, the weight you feel, isn't only your burden. It's society's burden too. We live in a world where exhaustion isn't just personal, it's collective. You're not alone in feeling this way. This is the reality we've built for ourselves. We've created a system where performance is everything, where the goal is always more, faster, better. And the worst part? It's all invisible. There are no chains, no bosses yelling at you, no external pressure forcing you to perform. But the pressure is there, silently in the background, telling you that if you're not achieving, if you're not growing, if you're not doing something productive, then you're failing. This invisible pressure, it's cruel. It whispers to you, you should be doing more. It tells you that every second of your day must be filled with purpose. Every action, every thought must lead somewhere, must give you something in return. And if you're not constantly achieving, then you've missed the mark. There's a part of you that's screaming for a break, for a chance to breathe, for a chance to exist without this constant pressure. But you can't stop. You're expected to keep moving, keep improving, keep chasing whatever it is that the world tells you is success. And so, you push yourself harder. You think, if I just work a little more, if I just push a little longer, then maybe I'll get there. Maybe then I'll feel like I'm enough. But here's the truth. You're already inside the trap. You've become your own oppressor. The system isn't just out there anymore. It's inside you, in your head, in your heart. The expectations, the demands, they've taken root inside your mind. You've internalized the message that every moment must be productive. Every thought must be optimized. Every part of your life must be moving towards something better. But the more you push yourself to meet these demands, the further you get from the person you really are. You stop checking in with yourself. You stop allowing yourself to just be. Instead, you're constantly running from one task to the next, checking off boxes, trying to keep up with the demands. And all the while, you lose sight of what's truly important. Your own well-being, your peace of mind, your ability to simply exist. This is burnout, but not the kind of burnout you think. It's not just about feeling tired. It's not about needing a weekend getaway or a short vacation. It's deeper. It's an existential burnout, a burnout that doesn't just wear you out physically, it empties you from the inside. It drains your soul. You're not just worn down from the demands of work or life, you're worn down by the very structure of the world around you. The system is designed to make you feel like you're always falling short. It's designed to make you believe that you're not enough unless you're constantly striving, achieving, growing. And in that process, you lose yourself. This isn't just stress, it's not just fatigue, it's a crisis of meaning. You're living in a world that tells you that everything has to have a purpose, that everything must yield results. And that pressure, that constant drive to do more, be more, achieve more, starts to chip away at the very essence of who you are. The system tells you that rest is for the weak, that you should always be striving for something more. But here's the thing, this system is lying to you. You don't have to constantly be on the go. You don't have to be producing something every single second. You don't have to be chasing success, fame, or approval. And yet, this is what the world tells you every day. It tells you that if you're not producing, if you're not improving, if you're not moving forward, then you're wasting your life. But that's the trap. The moment you believe this lie, you're stuck. You've given away your power. You've given away your right to rest, to be still, to simply exist without justification. The reality is, you are already doing enough. You don't have to keep pushing yourself. You don't have to keep proving your worth to the world. But the hardest part of all this, understanding that this pressure to constantly perform isn't your fault. It's a product of the world we live in, a world that teaches you that your value is based on what you can achieve, how productive you are, how much you can do, and how fast you can do it. But you don't have to buy into that anymore. You don't have to accept that this is the only way to live. There's another way, a way that doesn't involve constantly pushing, constantly performing, constantly improving. But it's not easy. It's a slow, difficult journey to reclaim your peace, your stillness, your ability to just be. It's a journey that requires you to confront the very system that has conditioned you to believe that your worth is tied to your productivity. And that's where we start, by recognizing the trap, by acknowledging that the world around us is not the only way to live. There's another way, and it begins with the simple act of stopping. Stopping doesn't mean giving up. Stopping doesn't mean being weak. Stopping means reclaiming your humanity. It means saying no to the pressures of productivity, to the demands of the performance society. It means taking back the right to rest, to be still, and to simply exist. This is the beginning of breaking free. This is the beginning of healing. The truth is, you don't have to be everything. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to achieve everything. You don't have to be constantly on the go, constantly moving, constantly striving. It's okay to stop. It's okay to rest. It's okay to just be. And it's in that stillness, in that pause, that you will begin to find yourself again. Because here's the truth. True freedom doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing less. It comes from saying no to the relentless drive for more, to the demands of the system that tells you that your worth is determined by your productivity. True freedom comes from reclaiming the right to be still, to rest, to breathe. The next time you feel that pressure to do more, to be more, to achieve more, remember this. You don't have to. You have the right to rest. You have the right to stop. And in that space of stopping, you will rediscover what it means to truly be alive. You have been conditioned to believe that the more you can do, the more freedom you'll have. The more tasks you check off, the more successful you'll be. But the truth is, the less you do, the more you allow yourself to just exist, the more alive you become. Because living isn't about checking boxes. It's about feeling, breathing, and being. It's about living with intention, not because the world demands it, but because you choose it. It's time to stop running. It's time to slow down, to reflect, and to listen to the silence that has been drowned out by the noise of productivity. And when you allow yourself to truly stop, you'll realize that the world doesn't need you to do more. It needs you to just be. You don't have to be everything to everyone. You don't have to live up to every expectation. You don't have to be constantly chasing after the next best thing. You only need to be here. You only need to be with yourself. You see, there's something deeply unsettling about this constant pressure to be more. It's not just exhausting, it's unnatural. It's as if we've forgotten how to simply exist, to breathe, to be. When was the last time you allowed yourself to just sit in stillness, to let your mind wander without the weight of expectations pressing down on you? Think about it for a moment. This culture, this system, has sold us an illusion that more is better, that if we're not moving forward, we're moving backwards, that if we're not doing something, we're wasting time. But what if, just for a moment, we turn that idea on its head? What if we began to see doing nothing as the ultimate form of power? We've been trained to believe that success is synonymous with non-stop productivity. But here's the truth. The relentless pursuit of achievement, the endless cycle of doing and proving, is not freedom. It's bondage. We've been conditioned to believe that we can never stop, never rest, never take a break. But in that non-stop race, we forget something essential. We forget ourselves. We forget what it feels like to simply be, without agenda, without pressure, without the need to justify our existence. This isn't a new problem. It's a product of the world we've built, a world where we're always connected, always on, always available, a world that treats rest like a luxury, like a weakness. The very idea of pausing, of doing nothing, has been demonized. If you're not working, not hustling, not striving, then you're seen as lazy, unambitious, or worse, irrelevant. But this belief isn't just misguided, it's toxic. It's feeding into a system that thrives on your exhaustion. It's making you believe that your worth is measured by how much you can do. But what happens when you run out of energy? What happens when the constant demands leave you feeling hollow, like a shell of the person you once were? This isn't just about burnout. It's about an existential crisis. A crisis that tells you that you're only valuable if you're always producing, always achieving, always moving forward. And when you can't keep up, you start to believe you're failing. You start to think there's something wrong with you, like you're broken, when in reality, it's the system that's broken. The truth is, we need to relearn how to rest. We need to rediscover the power of stillness, of silence, of boredom. Because boredom, when we truly embrace it, isn't a curse, it's a gift. It's the space in which our minds can truly reset. It's the time when we can reflect, when we can reconnect with our true selves. When was the last time you truly felt at peace, without feeling like you should be doing something, anything, to prove you're worth your time? It's in the stillness that we find clarity. It's in the quiet moments, when we're not distracted by the endless noise of tasks and to-do lists, that we start to hear our own thoughts. We start to hear our own needs. We start to realize that maybe, just maybe, we've been chasing the wrong things all along. Think about it. When you're constantly in motion, constantly achieving, constantly doing, where is the room for reflection? Where is the space to ask yourself, what do I really want? What makes me happy? What makes me feel alive? The truth is, we've been conditioned to avoid those questions. We're told not to slow down, not to pause, not to think too deeply because that would mean we're not being productive. And that, in itself, is a form of violence. a violence that tells us to keep going no matter the cost. But that cost is steep. It's not just physical fatigue, it's emotional and spiritual depletion. It's the toll it takes on your sense of self. When you live in a world that demands constant output, you start to lose touch with who you are outside of your achievements. You start to feel like your value is tied to your productivity. And when you can't produce, when you can't keep up, it feels like you're nothing. But this is a lie. You are more than what you do. You are more than your accomplishments. You are more than your ability to meet expectations. But you'll never realize that if you keep running, if you keep pushing, if you keep living in this constant state of alertness and action. And this is where it gets tricky, because even when you know the truth, even when you understand that stopping and resting are essential to your well-being, it's hard to let go. It's hard to stop when the world around you is moving at such a fast pace, when everyone else seems to have it all together. The fear of falling behind, the fear of not being enough, the fear of being left out, it's real, and it keeps you trapped in this endless cycle of doing. But let me ask you this. What would happen if you let go? What would happen if you stopped? What if, just for a moment, you let the world spin without you? What would you discover about yourself if you gave yourself permission to be still? You see, it's in the stillness that we find our true selves. When we stop chasing after the next goal, the next achievement, the next task, we create space to breathe. And in that breath, we begin to reconnect with what really matters. It's easy to get caught up in the noise, to get lost in the demands of work, of society, of everyone around you. But the truth is, none of that matters if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not allowing yourself to simply exist. And this is where the real power lies, in the ability to stop. When you stop, you take back control. You refuse to be swept away by the tide of expectations. You reclaim your right to rest, to reflect, to just be. And in that space, you begin to heal. But healing isn't instant. It's not a one-time fix. It's a process of unlearning the habits and beliefs that have been ingrained in you for so long. It's a process of rewiring your mind to understand that rest is not a luxury. It's a necessity. It's a process of rediscovering what makes you feel whole, what makes you feel alive, what makes you feel you. The journey to reclaiming your humanity starts with the courage to stop, the courage to say no to the endless demands of the world, the courage to give yourself permission to rest, to reflect, to be. And it's in that stillness that you will find the clarity you need to move forward, not in a rush, not in a race, but in a way that feels right for you. Now, let's talk about the real reason you've been running. The reason why you've been so focused on achieving, on proving yourself, on meeting expectations. The truth is, it's not just about success or productivity. It's about survival. We live in a world where our self-worth is often measured by what we can accomplish. And so, we run, we keep going, keep striving, keep pushing, because we believe that's the only way we'll be accepted, the only way we'll be seen as valuable. But the real truth is that your value doesn't come from what you can do. It comes from who you are, and who you are is enough. You are already enough. You don't have to keep proving it. And when you stop, when you take that step back, when you allow yourself to rest and reflect, you'll begin to see it. You'll begin to realize that your worth was never tied to your productivity. It was always tied to your humanity, your ability to feel, to love, to be present, to simply exist without justification. So, let go. Let go of the need to constantly do, to constantly achieve. Let go of the fear of not being enough. Let go of the pressure to always be moving forward. And in that space, you will find something beautiful, yourself. You will find the peace that has been buried beneath the noise. You will find the clarity you've been searching for. And most importantly, you will find freedom. Freedom doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing less. Freedom doesn't come from chasing the next achievement. It comes from learning to stop. And when you learn to stop, you'll finally be able to breathe, to be, to live.